Speed.
Anytime.
Could we do a clap?
Yes, please.
Just
Clap.
clap in front of your face.
Just clap. Good.
Perfect.
Anytime.
Okay, ready?
Yep.
Oh man. Okay, so Walt, because this is a pretty official interview, could you say your first and last name, and your age, and what your occupation is?
Okay. My name is Walt Heisinger. I'm 58 years old, and I am a farmer.
And Walt, where do you farm at?
I farm at Wildside Farm, which is located in Orange County.
So, Walt, I think one of the first questions I wanted to ask you that I've been wondering for a minute, but I think you told me was, why did you name it Wildside Farm? And tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So Wildside Farm came to me because one of our intentions with the farm is to create great wildlife habitat that surrounds the farm. So we are farming on we have 13 acres that we'll be putting under more intensive cultivation, and the property that lies outside of our fenced area we're going to, can we cut and start over again?
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
I kind of
This is-
ramble sometimes.
Yeah. No, it's okay.
One thing you're doing well, Walt, is that we're never going to hear Emmy's question. And you're stating it with, well, Wildside, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're stating, which is great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We don't have
Okay.
to ask you to do
Yeah,
that,
you
which
don't.
is awesome.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
been helpful.
Yep.
You're killing it. I know that this is yeah, this
This
is
is awkward. Yeah.
I'm also not used to this,
Right.
so in all fairness,
doing good.
I fully understand where you're at. If I was there, I'd be feeling the same way. So, so yeah, we're gonna talk a little bit about that again,
Uh-huh.
and then I'm gonna ask why you guys started farm, and then we'll kind of go there in a natural flow. We'll get
Okay.
into the details, and then we'll wrap it up because we hit most of the parts back there, so we
Right.
don't need to spend
Right.
too much time. So, but we
Yeah.
have that first bit with your name, so we can move past that
Okay,
because
good.
we know you.
Yep.
So that's enough.
Mhm.
All right, you guys, let me know
We're
when
still
you're ready.
rolling.
Still rolling?
Still rolling.
Ooh,
Okay.
okay. Walt, I want you to tell me a little bit about why you decided on the name Wildside.
Well, Wildside Farm came to me because my interest in creating wildlife habitat on the farm where we're gardening, and on the property the fallow fields that surround our farm. We have about 70 acres, this old dairy farm that we're farming on. 13 of those acres are fenced in where we'll do the more intensive farming, and then the remainder of the property will be managed for wildlife. So currently we're allowing the native vegetation that's here just to grow back to see what's here, and then we'll manage it over time through mowing and prescribed fire, and we'll be planting other native plants to increase the biodiversity on the farm, because I think it's really important that we have a healthy ecosystem that the farm is part of, and the farm, I see the farm as being a integral part of the much larger system that we're a part of. So for instance, we have a lot of birds that fly through, and they spend a lot of time on what we call the wild side of the farm, but they also come through our gardens and eat a lot of insects. We have a lot of pollinators that are in our meadows that will also come into our garden and pollinate our crops. And we have predatory insects that will come in and eat the pest insects. So it's to our benefit to enhance and increase the wildlife habitat that surrounds the farm, because they're also part of what we're doing out here.
So you want the farm to work with the land.
Exactly. I see it as,
Easy way to say
Yep.
it.
as
Just for the truck.
Meow.
Great question.
Meow. Having fun.
Your call, Larry.
If you could just re-ask that follow-up.
Yeah. So you want the farm to work with the land.
exactly. Yeah, I see us as an integral part of the greater ecosystem out here. And actually, I look to that wild side, to the way nature works, to create a farming system that is truly sustainable, that is building the soil and increasing biodiversity, and all the things that are done without any inputs in nature.
Yeah, and so you also, you know a lot about that because your job before this was with the Land Conservancy. Can you tell me
That's
a
right.
little bit about what you bring over from that previous job and what skills you've kind of honed in on to do the farming job better because of that one?
Right. So my job at the Triangle Land Conservancy was I was the senior land manager for about 14 years, and that job in that job I managed all the owned properties that TLC had. So it was at the time about 8,000 acres that I managed. It included making trails, developing nature preserves, maintaining fields, and doing ecological restoration. So as part of that job I did a lot of prescribed burning, a lot of native plant restoration. So those skills that I honed during my time at TLC, I am bringing with me to do the restoration work here at Wildside.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that is so cool. So then, I mean, obviously it's not a straightforward jump from doing land conservancy to farming. So tell me a bit about, once this car passes, tell me a bit about how you went from being part of the land conservancy, and it wasn't just you, it was also your wife that came with you to do this, to come farming. Tell me about that story, because there is a story behind that.
Yeah, so in 2019, our friends Matt and Suzanne Case, who own this property, approached us with the idea of starting a farm on the property here. And since they're not farmers, they were looking for someone that had a background in farming and land management to help them develop this idea. So the more we talked about it, the more interested Debbie and I became in the project. And at the time I was looking to make a change in my career, so we decided to go for it and to make this happen. What attracted me to this project is that it is directly working with a piece of land over the course of time, which I also did at the Triangle Land Conservancy, but on a much more general level, since I was managing 8,000 acres. As opposed to 70 acres, you know, it was more of an inch deep, mile wide. What I do here, I'm much more intimate with what happens on a daily basis with this land. So it has been an education for me to really see how the work that we've done in the short period of time that we've been here has begun to transform the soils and transform the landscape.
Yeah, and you really only have been here a short period of time,
That's
relatively
right.
speaking.
Yep. So we started talking about the idea in 2019. We started working on infrastructure in 2020 and developing our site plan. And in 2021, we moved out to the property. I quit my job at TLC and started farming full time. So we've been actually farming for 2 years now. This is our first year of doing a CSA, which is a community supported agriculture, where people agree to subscribe to the farm and receive vegetables on a weekly or bi-weekly basis.
People are working. What's going on
I
here?
know, right?
It's like we're the farmers.
Yeah, incredible.
Crazy, guys.
Oh, people don't do stuff here.
Yeah, what's going on here? Should we wait till they get through?
Yeah, they're looking for quiet, so
It's all right. Let us know.
they don't want anybody working.
Okay, thank you. We're still rolling.
Okay, awesome. Good. Cool. So, so Walt, obviously you still have a long way to go before that map that you showed us earlier is kind of achieved. But as of right now, can you tell me a little bit about the monetary sanitary progress that you guys have made since.
Sorry, we got a plan.
Oh, yep, just heard of it.
It's coming.
Just cut.
It's cut.
Meow.
One more time, please. Thank you. Okay.
Oh.
Oh, well. Okay. No, I can't use.
You want me to?
Yeah, I got it. Just had to tighten it. Yep. We're still rolling. Anytime.
Cool. Okay. Well, could you tell me a little bit about, you know, the question? Go for it. Tell me about where you started with your first annual production, and where you would like it to go in terms of, again, annual production profit. So,
Yep. So our first year on the farm was really focused on building the infrastructure and working on the soils, getting them ready to plant. And we started with a very small, modest online market with family and friends. So our first year we made about $10,000 to $12,000 for the year, but that really wasn't our focus. It wasn't to make money that first year, because we realized we had to build the infrastructure for the farm before it could become profitable. So this year is our second year in production. We added a CSA to our market, and we do all the sales from the farm. It's all online, and to date we're projected to be about $25,000 at the end of the year, which is not something that we can live on at this point, but we're moving in that direction. So the idea is that we're going to ratchet up those markets each progressive season. Starting this spring, we'll be adding members to our CSA, and we'll be expanding the gardens and adding the perennial crops, which will increase our revenues. So our long-term vision for the farm is to make it, of course, a sustainable operation. We can make the money that we need to make to have a decent lifestyle without working ourselves to death, which, you know, farming is quite a bit of work. So the systems that I'm developing on the farm are really focused on how do we make things as efficient as we can, so that we can continue to do this into our 60s and maybe 70s.
that's ambitious.
Yep.
But also, so part of making it sustainable are, you know, your soil health, and then your tools are another part of it.
That's right.
So tell me a little bit about the kind of tools you were working with before, and what you use now, and what you would like to end up using to maybe be more sustainable.
Right. So to begin with, we have to use tillage to prepare the soil so that we can put the crops in the ground and make sure that they're not outcompeted by the weeds. So initially there's quite a bit of soil disturbance, and then as the gardens mature and we get a handle on the weeds and we build the soil nutrient levels and the organic matter in the soils through adding compost and leaf mulch and growing cover crops, then we are able to disturb the soil less and less. So we currently use a type of plow called a BCS, which is a two-wheel tractor, and you can change out implements on the BCS. So we have a rototiller and another plow called a harrow, and we have a mower called a flail mower, which we use to chop down our cover crops. The harrow is a type of plow that allows you to control the depth of tillage. And the reason why we want to limit the amount of tillage that we do is that when you disturb the soil through tillage, you are also disrupting the soil ecology. So all the organisms that you're trying to encourage to grow in your soil do not like to be tilled up and mixed up with rototilling and other tillage. It also burns up the carbon in the soil, and that's one of the things we're trying to store in our soil the more carbon you have in the soil, the more resilient they become. So we're looking at eventually moving to a no-till system, or a very lightly tilled system, where we have established garden beds that get prepared with using light tillage tools such as
You're doing great.
Just keep rolling.
I want you. It's gone.
You call it.
Stand by. Alright, let's try.
So ultimately, we're moving towards using a tool called a tilther, which is run off of like a standard battery drill, and that provides just enough tillage in
Eric will make the call. We'll have to live with someone.
enough tillage to prepare the soil for planting the seeds and the starts, vegetable seeds and starts.
So, do you know Jim Sander?
I do, yeah.
And you know that he uses broad fork and low till practices.
Right,
Is that
yes.
kind of something you want to work toward?
Exactly, and we use a broad fork now, and that's a tool that allows you to break the soil open so that you allow air and water to penetrate into deeper parts of the soil, which will allow the root growth to extend down into those more restrictive layers without disturbing the soil too much.
Have you spoken with Jim about
Oh,
your
yeah.
practices before?
Yeah, Jim's been out here a number of times, and we've talked about what he does over there, and shared a lot of information. And we also share an employee. So
Abby, right?
Abby, right? Yeah.
Is it nice having a manager to kind of go between farms and, share practices and share different, I guess, tips? Because, I mean, she sees change every day between the two.
Yeah, I pick her brain all the time about what Jim is doing, and I don't know if Jim does the same, but yeah.
He does. We'll find out tomorrow. Is that
Yeah,
it?
that's-
Okay. So, I'd like you to tell me a little bit about your overall goal for the farm, because you mentioned when we spoke earlier that you kind of want it to be a community space.
That's right. Yeah. So we would like this to be a space that draws people out to the farm, so they can connect with this land and what we're doing out here, and they can see firsthand what's involved in the type of farming that we're doing. We see this as a place where people can come and learn. They can come and take hikes with their kids. They can connect with the natural world, the wild side, and they can. Just kind of lost my train of thought.
It's okay, we got a pint.
Yeah. So that would
Good time.
You want to cut?
Sure.
Cut. Clap, please. Good. Anytime, man.
Okay. So again,
There's a truck. Sorry. It's a pickup. It's a big one.
You can ask the
Keep
question.
rolling.
You can ask the
Keep rolling.
question though.
okay.
What is that?
I'd like you to tell me about your overall plans. Or well, we already did that. For the, I'm losing my train of thought with the trucks. They're
okay.
taking me away.
Give me Eric's call.
Just keep going.
Alright. So Walt, before we wrap up, I'd like to know what drew you to farming, because we talked about why you wanted career change, but I mean, you can kind of career change into other things. What draws you in about this kind of job?
Right, well, I've been interested in farming for a long time. About 30 years ago, my wife Debbie and I, and my daughter at the time was 2 years old, we went and lived on an organic farm and spent a year learning about farming. We did an internship with the intention that I would become a farmer. At that point, things didn't work out that way. I took other jobs. So over the years, I've always kind of kept my fingers in the soil, planted large gardens for our family, and the work that I've done as an environmental educator and then as a land manager I did a lot of work with soil and growing crops and native plants. So I've always had an interest in farming, and I really became interested in farming over the last few years, looking at the issue of climate change. And I believe that the type of farming that we're doing out here, the regenerative farming, has the potential to help with that, to lessen the impact of what's coming down the road with climate change, because it has the ability to actually draw carbon from the atmosphere and store it in a very stable form in the soil. And that carbon in the soil can then grow highly nutritious plants for people to eat. So, it makes a lot of sense to me that we use a technology that we have currently to address some of these problems that are facing us, like climate change and food insecurity, the nutrient content of food, which has been declining over the last several decades, and the cleaning and holding water, allowing water to filter back into the land. So all these things can be done through farming, and increasing biodiversity, at the same time providing livable space for people to come and enjoy and unwind, and providing good jobs for people in rural communities.
Yeah. So right now you're working with about a little bit more than an acre of land. How much are you working with?
So I have 13 acres fenced in. Of that, the market garden consists of a little under an acre, and that I have designated for gardens. I currently have about half of that in production, so less than a half an acre right now is what we're growing in. Over time that'll increase, but my goal is never to have all of that in production at a given time. I have an acre designated for the market garden so that I can continue to cover crop and really focus on the health of the soil.
And so you also talked, it's not too much land. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's not too much land right now that you're working with. So do you one day plan, you have some volunteers who help you out with what you have. Do you one day hope to employ people to come work?
Yeah, and we have 2 employees right now. They're part-time. And as the farm grows, we'll definitely need additional help.
Do you have living spaces for them on?
No. So these are local people that have their own homes. So, in the future, we do have plans to have structures that we could potentially have short-term interns come and stay on the farm.
Walt, I think we're almost finished actually, but before we end, I would like to ask, is there anything else you'd like to speak on, that we haven't covered yet already in our interview, that you think would be important for us to include in this? You can think about it for a minute.
Yeah.
It's okay. He's got 28 hours of old time, so we got all night.
I could go on and on and on.
Well, actually, here, I thought of something.
Okay,
so
good.
why do you, you think that regenerative farming is important, but, smaller farms and having a lot of them, do you think that specifically is important, and maybe to combating climate change? You seemed very passionate about that.
Yeah, I think that all size farms are important, and that a lot of these practices can be implemented on any size farm. And the thing is that agricultural land is extensive throughout the world. So we've already disturbed these soils. Most of those soils have been abused through conventional agriculture and have lost a lot of their carbon back to the atmosphere. But since they are already highly disturbed, and they were at one time good, high quality producing lands, that's why they became farmland in the first place. The potential to implement these techniques and draw down carbon and store it back into the soil and make the soil healthier and the food healthier and the air healthier is it's very exciting. And the people that study this stuff, they believe that if this was done on a large enough scale throughout the world, that we could actually draw down the carbon that's creating the climate change right now in a very short period of time.
Is there anything else while we talked about that you'd like to add that you think is important?
Well, I think it's important to. Should I keep talking?
This
Up
is
to you,
it. No, you shouldn't.
Cut.
Well, you got more time to think on it,
Yeah.
so that'll be the last question. And
Okay.
then I think.
Clap. Thank you. Good time.
Okay. So Walt, before we end, is there anything important that we should keep in mind, or you feel like we should include that you'd like to add we didn't talk about?
Yeah, I think it's really important that people try to support local farmers and pay attention to the work that's being done in these communities, in these rural communities, and that every dollar that you spend locally stays in the community. You're supporting a system of growing food that enhances the ecosystem and increases biodiversity, that supports your neighbors, and you can't do this type of farming without having the support of the public. So I think it's important for people to see the importance of what we're doing here, and to participate through where they spend their food dollars, and when they can, to help support small farms.
Okay. Good?
Okay,
Cut.
we're done.
All right.
Okay, so Jim, you've been doing this kind of a while, but why did you start farming in the first place?
It's after the bang stuff.
That's some great nat sound.
You want to ask that again?
Sure, so why did you start farming in the first place?
Well, I've been out here about 30 years, and about 12 years ago, I hit 60, and I said, I've always wanted to do this, probably since my 20s, and if I don't start now, I'm probably not going to do it. And that was also during the time of Occupy, and one thing I got from Occupy was just do something. So that's what I did.
Gotcha. And can you tell us a little bit about your connection to this property in general?
Well, I found this property by accident. I was driving in the country with a friend who was a real estate agent, and he said, do you mind if we look at this property? We're going to list it tomorrow, and it's going to sell really quickly. And I said, yeah, that's fine, we can walk around. And after about 10 minutes walking around, I said, how much do they want for it? Although I wasn't looking for land. I kind of fell in love with it. So the next day, the people listed the property on the listings at 8 o'clock, and I was next door, and at 8:01, I signed it, and he returned it at 8:02, and it was sold. So, it was a little on the spur of the moment.
And why is it called Wildflower Lane Farm?
Well, when I got the land, there was no name on the road. It was a state road. And once you put a couple of houses up, you have to name it. And every time I drove up, there was wildflowers on either side. So we named it Wildflower Lane. And then the farm came many years later.
And can you tell me a little bit about your first little bit of farming when you were doing it commercially?
Yeah, I started about 12 years ago, and started on probably quarter of an acre. And I had a farm consultant, and he helped me figure out how I could sell produce locally. And we got organic certification the first year, and we started selling locally to Whole Foods, Weaver Street, restaurants, CSAs, things like that. So that we started small and built up.
And what made you decide to stop farming for profit?
I was farming for profit for about 7 years, and it was just meant to be a part-time business in the summer. And I like it, but I didn't like the business end. And prices were not going up, although my expenses were going up. And I kind of just got tired of the business end. So I started wondering after the 7th year if there was a different way of doing this. And one day I was walking around Carborough and I saw this sign that said table, and below it, feeding local hungry kids. So I just walked in and pitched them an idea. And there was 2 women there who were very open to it for some reason. They said, well, we were kind of looking for a farm to show people how we grow food. And so they came out a few days later. And that was it. That's how it started, at least.
Gotcha. And what have you learned about food insecurity in the area since your collaboration with Table?
I've learned a lot about food insecurity because that's what they deal with. And I think one definition of food insecurity is you don't know where all your meals are coming from that week. You're not necessarily starving, but you don't know that you'll have every meal you need. And by that definition, they say about 30% of kids in Orange County are food insecure. So I started thinking about that, and the conclusion I've come to is you solve food insecurity today, and if you don't solve that one problem today, you've got 2 or 3 problems tomorrow, including the one you didn't solve today. So I think you solve it today, or you got bigger problems down the road. So that's why I started to take it more seriously.
And how does it feel to be this resource for people in the community?
Oh, I'm much happier doing it this way. I have no worries, no deadlines, no pressure. And I feel like I'm actually contributing something to people who appreciate it. So we've expanded incredibly since the first year. Every year we've gone up, and we've learned new techniques for small-scale farming, which increase our yields every year. And because of this, we have another group in Hillsborough that's trying to copy what we're doing. And the goal would be to get maybe 10 or 12 places around the county doing this. So it's a much better feeling just to give it away than create a part-time job for myself.
Sure. So, can you tell me a little bit about this farm in Hillsborough that you're starting and the kind of the way that you're pursuing that in collaboration with them?
Sure. We had an article written in the News of Orange about this farm, and then a group in Hillsborough that's on the Riverwalk, and they have about the same amount of land, about an acre. They, based on that article, contacted me and came over and visited. And then I started to mentor that group on that property. And then they asked my helper if she would help them also. Her name is Abby, and she's employed by Table. So she's over there helping them part-time, and their goal is to kind of get to the place where I am quickly. And I can share a lot of the things I've done right and a lot of things I've done wrong, and that accelerates their process. So we hope to get them up to speed in a couple of years. And that will be the best property in the county because it's right on the Riverwalk, and thousands of people go down that Riverwalk every year, and they'll all see it. So it's going to be a great model for the rest of the county to look at.
Absolutely. And in that, can you tell me a little bit about your connections with people like Abby and people that come and volunteer here with you?
Yeah, it's all volunteer. We do have one half-time worker that a table employs. Everything else, including myself, is volunteer. I probably put in 20 hours a week. Abby puts in 20 hours a week, and the volunteers put in 20 combined. So we need about 60, maybe 70 hours a week to make this work. The average person comes for a 2 or 3 hour shift once a week, and everybody loves coming here. So we keep it simple, and we try to make it fun, and try to have different people teach and learn things as well. During COVID, this was a hot spot for volunteers because students were sick of being on the computer all day long, and they came out here and they didn't have to wear a mask and they felt safe, and it was the perfect tonic for being on a computer 12 hours a day.
So how did you get to know Walt from Wildside Farm?
Well, Abby works here half-time, and Abby was contacted by them because they needed a helper. So they asked me if I could let her go half-time, and big mistake on my part. But she's the most amazing employee. So she started working for them, I think, two full days a week. And then she works 6 or 8 hours for the Hillsborough group too. So she's very instrumental in spreading the knowledge of how to do this.
And can you talk a little bit about your vision for having, I think you said 10 to 12 farms like this in the area?
Yeah, with this method of farming, it's very low-till, it's very condensed. We've been able to increase our yields tremendously. So on an acre, you can easily produce $100,000 per year. So we'd like to get 10 or 12 models like this across the county and be contributing $1 million a year to food relief groups. All the food is grown and just given to the food relief groups, and then they distribute it. And it would basically be a bunch of people having a lot of fun. And a couple of farmers could get paid a little bit for the use of their land, which would help them get through the ups and downs of small-scale farming, because a lot of the small-scale guys, well, and farmers in general, are operating on very thin margins. So it's very easy to start and have a couple of bad years, and then you go out of business. If they were paid to do a project like this, it would help buffer those ups and downs. So it would help the farmer too.
Sure. Well, that was all the questions that I had, but is there anything that you would like to add about this experience and how you felt as it has progressed?
Well, this is the most fun I've ever had in my life. So, and everybody who comes out has fun. Students come out, retired people come out, corporations send employees out. We get a lot of
I'm sorry, Jim,
DWIs.
those are allowed.
Okay.
Airplane or truck.
Start all over again?
Just
In a moment.
gotta wait.
Yeah.
Just
Just
this
keep
last
rolling.
Do the
question.
same question again.
You don't have to
You-
repeat yourself
You
exactly.
call it, Eric.
That's fine.
All right, whenever you're ready.
So, question?
So, how have you felt personally throughout your years of doing this?
Well, this is the happiest times I've had here. We're producing something that people appreciate, and we don't really worry about much. We just have fun. And besides the farming, we're spreading the knowledge how to do this to other people. And the people that come all have great experiences. And it's a wide variety of people. a lot of students, a lot of retired people. We get people with DWIs coming out to do community service. We've had inmates come. It's a great place to do community service, to learn something, to teach something. And we keep it at a level where everybody's having fun. And a lot of people doing a little bit of work each week makes it happen. So this is the most fun I've had farming. As the computer people used to say, it's the most fun you can have with your clothes on. So, but we try to keep it light and simple.
And, you asked him to say what his name is and what he does in 15 seconds.
All right. So can you give me a quick little 15-second summary, your name, and then what you do?
Jim Sander. I'm the owner and operator of Wildflower Lane Farm. We're a small organic farm in Orange County.
Can we do that one more time?
Yeah.
In just a minute.
Yeah. Wait for this.
Yeah.
Meow.
Oh, we got birds and plane. Birds are fun. Birds are fun.
Told you,
Plane,
air
no.
traffic control.
Let's
Some-
just cut. It's gonna be one.
Okay.
Whoa, they're buzzing us.
Yeah.
Where's that coming
It's a pretty good size plane. Usually they're smaller.
from? Not very high. Is there a kind of a county small plane airport anywhere near there?
Hey Bob, you're gonna love this
Well,
second
there's a
angle.
subdivision about 2 miles down the road that has an airstrip in
Oh,
it.
really?
But I don't think
He
you
moved,
could land there
but
with that.
he's been
looks
in
a little
that
big.
corridor pretty much.
Burlington.
Yeah,
But-
that's good. That light.
Probably heading to Burlington.
Yeah, that looks great.
Yeah, he's about here, so.
Yeah.
All right.
You just let us know, Eric. You
I'm
good?
ready.
Camera rolls.
Speed.
Anytime, Steve.
So just really quick, what's your name and what do you do?
I'm Jim Sander. I'm the owner and operator of Wildflower Lane Farm, and we're a small organic farm in western Orange County, North Carolina.
Good.
Okay. Camera
3, 2,
rolls.
1, go.
Room tone. Speeding. Anytime, Kyle.
All right, so first question, organic food. Why is it important, even organic regenerative farms like yourself, like what does that impact people in both their nutrition, the value that they get out of that food, and how important is it to eat organic food?
I try to eat organic as much as I can. For one thing, I'd like to ingest as few chemicals as I can, things like pesticides, herbicides. So I think it's always best to eat as organically and locally as you can. And when you're buying and consuming local food, you're cutting way down on the food miles. Most of our produce comes from California or Florida, 3,000 miles away. And if you can get it, say, I'm 12 miles out of town, so my food miles are 12, versus a head of lettuce you get from California has 3,000 miles on it. So I think it's important for your personal health to get as natural as you can, but it also helps the environmental footprint tremendously the more local you get, and creates more local jobs.
And then in terms of creating local opportunities and jobs, how has that sort of built a community that has returned and created valuable customers that keep wanting to come back to your farm because they say, "Ooh, that pepper was really good that I got last week," or "that food that I got, I want to try it again," or try something else that they have on the farm?
Well, when you get very fresh food, it's noticeable. So when you get food that's, say, a day old, 2 days old, versus a week old, you can taste the difference. So you'll come back. In our case, we're picking from 8 to 11 in the morning. It's on the road to table and arrives by 12, and people start getting it about 1 or 2. So most of our produce is delivered within 4 or 5 hours, and that's a big difference versus 4 or 5 days.
Most definitely. And then, in terms of the farm, you mentioned before that it was about an acre or so, just under. How do you keep such a simple and effective method on? It's definitely a little bit of a larger property for one man to do, but I know that obviously you have a team working with you. But with such a simple and effective yield, it seems like it's been doing pretty well. How do you manage to do that?
We keep careful records, and records of when we plant, when we harvest, how much we harvest, and every year we just get a little bit better. So our yields have gone up tremendously in the first 5 years, and now we've kind of plateaued, and we're going to probably try to get 10% higher every year. But it's a fun challenge just to improve what you do every year.
And in this type of acreage farm, is this a typical produce yield, or this is way better than expected?
Well, there's been a kind of a revolution that's happened in the production totals in the last 10 years. When I started 12 years ago, the average per acre in California was $14,000. That would be a retail price of $14,000 per acre per year. And you figure California is probably ahead of everybody. When I started then, my farm consultant said if I got really good, I could do 20 to 30,000 per acre. About 5 or 6 years later, he came back and said, I think I can double that estimate. If you get really good, you could do 40, 50, 60,000 per acre. And now people are doing well over 100,000 per acre. The best people in the country are doing about 240,000 per acre. That's a retail store price. And we're getting up to that level. And it's just by doing a little bit better each year. And we get a lot of information online because farmers love to brag about their yields. Even though they're giving away their trade secrets to their competitors, it's one of the few professions where people share their secrets, with great glee. There's plenty of information to figure out how to do it better each year.
And then, do you have a background in science or agriculture, or this has just been something that you took it upon yourself to research, get knowledgeable people around you, and get to doing it?
No, I have no farming background. I came from the suburbs of New York and was outside all the time. As much as I could get outside, I'd be outside. And at some point I knew I'd want to get a piece of land. But no farming background. It's all been just learning through books and online sources.
And then, a couple more. What things on this property can grow well, and then what sorts of produce would you not be able to grow in North Carolina, and specifically the soil that you have here?
Well, we don't grow. We don't try to grow any fruit for mass consumption. It's just too hard. So we stick to common vegetables. We try not to duplicate things that are already being done well, like sweet potatoes. We don't grow sweet potatoes. and we stick to stuff we can do well in a compact area. Most common vegetables grow pretty well here, and we can grow longer times now with hoop houses. That extends the season about 6 weeks early and 6 weeks late. So we're actually getting about 3 months of additional grow time, and that lets us grow pretty much anything we want.
And the climate being pretty mild here, you know, we both share about coming from the Northeast with snow. You must love not having snow and being able to farm almost year round here without any hindrance in freezing cold or snow to come in.
Yeah, I go about 9 or 10 months a year farming, but I know people who farm 12 months, and that's because of hoop houses. There's almost everything grows better in a hoop house. And so that's the trend. More and more hoop houses let you grow longer and longer into the season.
And then I think this should be.
One question, Hal.
Yeah.
He calls it a permaculture. What does that mean?
All right, we got a number of questions coming in here.
Okay.
So yours first. Just remind me of yours, because I saw hers was the soil.
I think
The
he's called
permaculture?
his farm permaculture. What does that mean? And does it involve tilling?
Okay, so you've called your farm a permaculture, and that it involves tilling. Can you describe what that means and how that works?
Well, some people say permaculture comes from permanent agriculture. And for instance, if you go into the rainforest and you see all kinds of fruits and nuts and vegetables growing, nobody's maintaining that. It just self-maintains and self-regulates. So permaculture is trying to get to a point where you have a system that just takes care of itself, but it's also providing you with produce. So you're kind of combining agriculture and just the forest. This is right here intensive gardening. The property itself we're trying to develop into more permaculture, and that would involve fruit trees and nut trees and doing more permaculture principles. But right here I would call this intensive regenerative agriculture. Somebody called it production gardening, which is probably a pretty good term. It's like large-scale intensive gardening. But the permaculture principles are more what we're doing around the property. Involves water flows, taking advantage of what you have and what you can grow. And it's a set of principles that you try to use as many of them as you can, but there's no one set template for every farm. Every farm has its own character. That's a longer term project we have.
And then the soil itself and your sustainable practices, have you always been like that with the farm, or has this been something you've transitioned to?
Well, what you see here, this field was just what you'd call the forest. If you look beyond it, you see woods or forest. That's what this was 12 years ago. We cut down a lot of brush and started from scratch. So we were classified organic from the start because nothing non-organic had ever happened here. So when you start that way, you can get organic status immediately. And the first thing we started thinking about was how do we improve the soil quality. So we had extensive soil testing done. We've added a lot of compost and manure over the years, certain minerals like rock phosphate, things like that. And we've got the organic content up to about 8% now, which is very good. I think when we started it was probably about 2 or 3%. So that's an important element, building the soil structure and composition.
And then the last question would be is, why do you do low-till farming, and how does that practice work, and what benefits does that provide?
Well, I started off doing tractors in here, and they messed up the land. They couldn't get in the spring, it was too wet. So I went to rototillers, and what happened was I developed something called hard pan or hard pack, and that's where your soil gets really crusty, and the top, or just below the top, gets like a solid clay, almost like a brick-like feel to it. And it was getting impossible to do it. So then I started to read about low-till and people getting phenomenal results from low-till. And that just involves a broad fork and a very small tiller. And that immediately broke up the hard pan and started to increase the organic content. So now I wouldn't do it any other way. But when I started 5 years ago, that was a new concept. And it's taken off, and people have increased their yields because you can get in and work a bed very meticulously. You don't have big equipment. You can get in earlier, stay later, and you maximize your bed space tremendously.
Any questions, Anthony? Okay. So do you think that this is something that's going to become more commonplace across maybe small farms to bigger, broader industry, large farms, production houses all across the country and hopefully globally too?
Yeah, I think the trend is towards small and local, for at least for produce. It makes a lot of sense. It creates a lot more opportunities. And especially with produce, which is perishable, you want it as quickly as you can get it. So this model is now spreading pretty rapidly and opens up a lot of opportunities. And there's a lot of opportunities for people who want to do it part-time also. And different economic models. I just give it away. People could get paid to grow and give it away. You can do the traditional farmers market route. But I think we reached a tipping point a few years ago where everybody started to say small, local, and organic is good stuff.
Cool. Awesome. I think we're good. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Anything?
Day, and then one day she decided that she would invite students to bake sheet cakes for the local soup kitchen. Several UNC students showed up to her house, surprisingly, baked and delivered the sheet cakes, and then talked about how much they enjoyed it, and specifically that they were interested in childhood hunger. Well, when she looked into it, at the time, 25% of kids were on free and reduced lunches and therefore not necessarily receiving enough food on weekends and school breaks. And it's now about 36%, so it's well over 1 in 3 kids that are participating in free school meals and therefore not necessarily receiving enough food on weekends or breaks, and then even regularly, maybe not even receiving enough nutritious food as well.
And when did you start working with Table?
So I've been in my role as executive director for over 10 years. So I started in August of 2012 after graduating from UNC as the program director, and then in 2013 began as the executive director. And the founder mentored me for a year, and goodness, so many other people have over the years as well.
And what drew you into this line of work?
So I was a Buckley Public Service Scholar at UNC, and so I was looking for volunteer opportunities at the time. So I was volunteering with Table as well as some other organizations. I was tutoring at the Chapel Hill Carrboro Human Rights Center as well as El Centro in Durham. And I found out that some of the kids that I was tutoring at through the Chapel Hill Carrboro Human Rights Center were some of the same kids that Table was serving. And so that was a really personal connection for me. And then the program director job became open. I was asked to apply. I applied and got it. And the rest is history, honestly. I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do as a senior in college as I was looking for jobs, and now I wouldn't change it.
Can you tell me a bit about how you met Jim Sander?
Jim Sander walked into Table one day with an idea. Is how I met Jim Sander. So like I said, he just walked in one day with the idea of, hey, you know, I love to farm. I've been growing food for a profit, working hard to do that all these years, and now I still want to grow food, and I don't want to have to worry about, you know, making that profit or figuring out how the revenue is going to make sense. And he said, so what if Table covers my expenses and I grow the food that you all need and provide it to you? And that's, I know myself and my coworker went out to visit his farm one day, and it's something that I was like, oh, I don't know, it's different. I'm not sure if this makes sense or not. Just felt a little risky, I guess, at the time. But then we kind of signed a contract and we did it for a year, and it's been amazing ever since. I mean, to partner with Jim in that way and for him to love what he's doing and to also love that he's able to support kids is so meaningful to us on a lot of levels. Personally, of course, just having that connection with him. But also, I mean, it's a huge support to be able to receive the bulk of that food donated. I mean, it's organic, locally grown food. It's the best quality food that can be found. And so to be able to give that to our kids is so meaningful to me personally and to Table.
And what did you think whenever he first began, you know, delivering produce to you, and it was like so much in the first year?
Oh my goodness, can I think back that far? I think I would say that we pretty quickly realized this is going to be great. Because, I mean, we kind of agreed, okay, we're going to move forward in this way. And I think the winter of 2018, maybe, or 19, we moved forward and kind of with the contract. But then once he started growing the food and bringing it in, which would have been the spring of that year, we very quickly realized, okay, this food it's great, it's high quality, he's yielding a whole lot more than we necessarily would have expected or known. And so we realized pretty quickly, like, we just want to continue this. This has been a fabulous fit for Table and for our kids. And so let's find ways to make sure that it works for Jim and for Wildflower Lane.
And would you say that that's a typical way that Table gets its food, or is it atypical to partner with a farm like that?
Yeah, so our partnership with Wildflower Lane is very unique. We do not have other partnerships with farmers and farms like we do with Wildflower Lane. But I will say what our partnership with Wildflower Lane has taught us, and is something that we're now pursuing, is that we can partner with other farms, and in particular BIPOC-owned farms, so that we can make a difference from start to finish in our mission. And so they don't necessarily look like our partnership with Jim, which is such a blessing to Table, but also it kind of gives us the opportunity to sort of give and to develop this stable revenue stream for some farmers and support a sustainable food system in Orange County as well. So I think the thing that's really cool about our partnership with Jim is, I mean, a couple of things. It's the way he's doing, it's the format of the partnership, but also that it just opened our eyes to how else we can make an impact, again, from start to finish, which has been a pretty cool thing for me to see, because before that we didn't know what that looked like. It was a focus on serving kids, which is our primary focus, but to be able to do that in a way that's meaningful to all of our stakeholders is pretty cool.
Could you talk a bit about how Table's grown since it was first formed?
Yes. So Table started delivering bags of food to 12 kids in 2008. And we've continued to grow because the need has continued to grow in part. But also as a result of support from the community, including folks like Jim, as well as our volunteers and other donors. So I started in 2012, and we were serving about 150 kids over the summer that year. And we're now serving, as of fall 2023, we're serving 860 kids a week with a goal of serving 1,000 kids during the school year.
And what goes into, you know, serving that many kids, like volunteer-wise?
So every week we need about 150 volunteers. So we need volunteers to help keep the space clean, prepare the bags of food, deliver the bags of food, do things like put the bread together if we have bread that week, or special diets so that we are able to give, to ensure that kids are not receiving foods that they're allergic to or that are not a good fit for their family. So we need, alone in delivery drivers, we need about 45 delivery drivers per week. And so it takes a lot of support from the community for us to be able to sustain our current model. And as it relates, I mean, our current model is something that we've had in place since 2020, since the pandemic, delivering directly to homes. But it's so beneficial to our kids and to our families to be able to deliver directly to their doorsteps. It brings a lot of value for a lot of different things. It allows us to be better engaged with the families more directly. It allows us to provide more food and more variety of food, so that because it's not having to sit out at schools. And it's more consistent, seamless. I mean, for some kids, we were able to provide them with food during the school year, basically, for about 33 to 34 weeks during the school year. And then we would not be able to serve them over the summer because we weren't delivering to homes. But now that we're delivering to homes, we can deliver to kids essentially 51 weeks of the year.
And can you describe sort of what goes out in a typical delivery?
So it's about 10 meals and snacks per child in a bag. So it includes healthy non-perishable food as well as produce. And it's about 10 meals and snacks that we're able to deliver every week to our kids.
How do you think that Sander has enabled you to grow as an organization?
Yeah, so many ways. I think I would say certainly just in the most direct way in, you know, helping us to stretch our dollars further, because we're covering his expenses, and then the yield in produce is so much greater than what we're paying. So essentially the bulk of his food is donated. So he's allowing us to stretch our dollars. One, that's the most direct way. The other, I know I briefly mentioned, and just kind of opening our eyes to how we can impact our community and other farmers and things like that.
Start.
Oh, the car.
Yeah, just the car.
Yeah.
We're never going to hear the interview question.
Uh-huh.
If you could say Jim is, or whatever.
Sure.
You want to say that, and then say it would be great.
Sure.
This is important.
Yep.
Important question. Thank you.
Okay, so
Yeah, ask it again.
yes, that'd be great.
How do you think that Jim has enabled Table to grow?
Jim has enabled Table to grow in so many ways. Most directly, he has allowed us to stretch our dollars just by providing what is essentially the bulk of what he provides is donated produce. So it allows us to stretch our dollars further, so that's the most direct way. But also even, you know, just in some of the things that I've shared, that he's kind of opened our eyes to other ways that we can impact our community and food system and farmers, so that it has allowed us to grow there. It has allowed us to grow in how we think about our work as well, that it's not just focused on the end game and the end product, but basically how we do our work.
Do you think that Table would be where it is now if Jim hadn't walked in one day with his idea?
That's a great question. I think that that's a great question. I do not think that Table would be where it is now if Jim had not walked in with his great idea, because I think he is the one person that I can say that it has opened our eyes to how we can partner with other farms, putting out fires that seem to happen every week or two, and recruiting more volunteers and donors to help support what we do. So we know the hard work that we put into it, and how, you know, our intent behind that and how meaningful we hope that it is. But it really hits home when we hear from families, you know, just how meaningful it is that their child was excited to receive the food, and that they're able to try new foods as a result, and that it was such a support for their family when they were going through a challenging time. So I think that for me is what is the most meaningful, is when we hear from families just how meaningful the bags, these little bags of food, 10 meals and snacks a week, are for them and for their child.
Do you have any favorite stories about?
I knew you were going to ask that. Let's see. I just did this a few weeks ago. I should be able to remember which ones I shared. There's one that I experienced personally that I tend to share, and it's a little bit older, but it's when we were delivering bags of food to kids in the snow, and then I have a couple I can share. And I know I have some more recent ones too, but I just would have to remember what they are. So we had, myself and an intern, it was a year that we had snow just unexpectedly just kind of come up, and it was a lot of snow. And so we realized, okay, these kids are not going to get food for several days, so we need to try to get this food out now. And so myself and an intern were delivering door to door in an apartment complex, which we did do from time to time with inclement weather. And there were a few apartment complexes we did that at anyway. And there was one door that we knocked on and dropped off the bags, and the little girl looked at her sister and said, "See, I told you they would come." And so, of course, that just kind of reflected the excitement and joy and impact that our bags of food were able to make. And that was a number of years ago. And then there's another one that a staff member, it was actually her husband and daughter, that were delivering, and they were taking bags of food, again, to a different apartment complex, actually. And the little boy ran up to them and said, "We get to eat today." And that one's a little bit more bittersweet, because, again, reflects that joy and impact, but also just how some of the kids really need the food and depend on the food to be able to eat and eat nutritiously as well. And I mean, goodness, we have one woman that we've worked with for a while, and she has children that are in our program and that we're delivering food to them. And she loves the produce. She shared that she just absolutely loves the produce. She's from Chad, and she gets excited to get the produce at home to be able to make delicious food that her kids and her family loves. And she's a pretty amazing woman. She works really hard, and she also has some disabilities that she has to manage and deal with as well. And so, again, to just hear how we're able to support those folks is pretty exciting for us.
Really quick, is it possible to turn
The air off?
conditioning on?
Mhm.
Okay.
For sure.
Could we cut and then
I think
roll?
we're almost done though, right? Lindsay, or?
Yeah, we're almost done.
We can just roll through.
Yeah.
All right. So
I can, though, if you want.
could we cut and get room tone in case it takes off?
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
so
what's important.
go turn it off?
No, we're good.
No, okay, got it.
But we're gonna stop the interview for just 30 seconds.
Okay.
And we're gonna record some room tone, so just stillness and silence for 30 seconds.
Stand by. Rolling for room tone.
All right, speeding. All right, we're good.
Okay.
Thank you.
And Lindsay, are we just about finished?
We are.
Okay. I might ask the question, is there anything that I didn't ask you just like to answer?
I do have a few more questions, like 2 more, but yeah, I can ask that after.
Okay, I think we've done. plenty.
Okay.
We're gonna do some more? Yeah, we'll do. It's gonna give me the group here. Camera rolls,
Speeding.
stand by, anytime.
So what do you get out of doing this job?
Whenever I'm asked what I love most about my job, I generally say that I love that I can do anything and know the purpose behind it, whether it is cleaning toilets or going to meet a donor to ask for funds, ask for support for a program. I know why I'm doing it, so I don't have to question the value and the purpose behind it, because even though there might be things that are smaller, I mean, it's all important to being able to serve our kids. So that's what I would say is what I get out of it and what is valuable to me.
Is there anything else that I haven't asked you that you'd like to say?
I don't think so. Not that I can think of. Is that it?
Yeah.
I'm good.
Okay.
Got it. Thank you.
State your name and occupation for the camera.
I'm Bob Patterson. I do teaching and research work at North Carolina State University in two colleges, the College of Agriculture and Life Sciences. I'm in the Crop and Soil Sciences Department. I have an adjunct professorship in the College of Humanities and Social Sciences.
Awesome. So, in your observation at Jim's farm, what soil practices have you found the most impressive in terms of soil health improvement?
Jim's strong effort to respect his soil and all the biological and physical properties of the soil that are absolutely essential if we're ever going to become fully regenerative. And I want to share a story with you, if I may. A long time ago, I took one of my graduate students to a place in Illinois where a farmer had just broken the world corn record for corn production. And my grad student and I spent the entire day there. At the end of the day, my student asked Mr. Warsaw, "Mr. Warsaw, how do you do this?" "Wayne, I try to do right by my soil, knowing that if I do, good yields will follow. It's about the soil." And what I have seen on this farm gives me the strong view that Jim is moving in a very healthy direction because he cares about his soil. It's about the soil.
Awesome.
Great, thank you. Let's hold off the next question until the
Okay.
plan passes. Okay. There we go. There's an airplane. We're gonna just wait for a minute. Let it pass.
Oh, that's interference.
Questions?
Awesome. So, how do regenerative farming practices differ from conventional farming methods, specifically regarding soil conservation and fertility?
In many, many truly significant ways. The regenerative approach is an effort to preserve and protect as fully as possible all the soil physical, biological, and other properties that are necessary in order for the crop to be able to function the way it was genetically predisposed to function at the genetic level. We talk about the G by E interaction, genetics by environment. The regenerative approach is one that attempts to allow, enable, permit the food, feed, fiber, or specialty crop to achieve its genetic potential insofar as possible without relying on external factors, synthetically derived factors. The traditional approach that we're using today, the more common, the current approach is what I'll say traditional, not sustainable, but traditional, is to rely on synthetic pesticides, insecticides, herbicides, nematicides, fungicides. And the regenerative approach is an attempt to mix the crops, crop rotational sequences, and also intercropping in such a way that the plants get along better together, and there is absolutely no necessity for any synthetically derived materials that would compromise the regenerative capacity of the soil.
Great. From your perspective, what are the environmental benefits of Jim's regenerative farming on soil quality and biodiversity?
His approach is going to allow his farm to provide yield and quality of the crops that he grows, even as we face the challenges of climate change. This is one of the things that has struck me most fully, is that climate change is occurring, and the question is, how can we make sure that yield and quality, and I'm talking about during the reproductive growth of a vegetable crop, for example, so that yield and quality are not compromised as we face increasingly warm night temperatures. And what I mean by that is that some of the carbon that's fixed photosynthetically in the daytime.
Could you start that again? Not the whole thing, but talking about the carbon.
A good example of why I'm so pleased about Jim's approach is that we worry a lot about increasing night temperatures for growth of our food, feed, fiber, and specialty crops. Some of the carbon that's fixed photosynthetically in the daytime is aerobically respired away at night. And the warmer the night temperature, especially during reproductive growth, the greater is the yield and quality of the crop compromise. And by quality, I'm including vitamins and minerals, and especially the dietary essential amino acids that are absolutely necessary for us. The dietary essential amino acids are the ones that we cannot make either at all or at rates equal to our needs for normal growth and development. And what he's doing is making sure that his crop is going to come as close as is possible to achieving his goals of quality as well as yield as climate changes. Yeah, that's the way I want to say that.
Awesome. What challenges do farmers face when transitioning to regenerative farming methods?
The three most important words to any farmer, are access to market. The second three most important words are access to credit. You talk to any farm family and they will tell you, we want to make decisions that allow that permit our family to sleep at night. Today, in the short run, sometimes current farming practices will protect the crop from diseases and insects and weeds especially. And so they'll go to the bank, they'll borrow the money, they'll use the synthetic material because they know they'll get a yield that season so that they can access the existing market. What Jim is doing, he's not concerned about making money. He's concerned about being able to provide food to people who need food without compromising the quality of the environment in which the food crops are being grown. So what he's doing is he's willing to take a lower yield, not quality, but maybe a lower yield this year, because he knows that if he does everything in a regenerative way, insofar as is possible, he's going to be able to continue producing food, feed, fiber, and specialty crops next year and then the next year. What I'm trying to say is that let's not be so concerned about what we can market this year as we are about what we're going to be able to market for many years.
Great. How important do you think education and awareness are in promoting regenerative farming practices?
Education and awareness are the heart and soul of our ability to return to the regenerative practices that are our future. And awareness on the part of the consuming public is on my mind right now. When I go to the grocery store, I want to find food crops for my family that I believe in my heart of hearts are produced in a way that is respectful of our environment. And the only way I can feel that way is if I'm aware of the consequences to the environment of practices that are used, production practices that degrade our environment. So awareness is extremely important. We have got to emphasize to the consuming public that we must focus our purchases of food on those food products that are produced in a regenerative way. And the only way that's going to happen is for the consuming public to become aware of the down the road consequences of our not doing that. It's about choice. We've got choices. I can go to the store and buy something very inexpensively that was grown using synthetic materials, but I shouldn't do that. What I need to do is purchase something that was produced in a regenerative way, and in so doing I'm sending a signal to the producer of that food that I want to walk the journey with that farmer who wants to be regenerative.
Absolutely. What does the future of regenerative farming look like, and how can it be integrated at a larger scale?
That's a wonderful question. I think, and I'm being very serious about this, that the future of regenerative farming involves our responding to the awareness that folks like you create in our minds. You say to us by your efforts that if you follow this journey, even though it may seem difficult today, if you follow this journey, tomorrow will be better for you. I think the potential for regenerative farming is very strong, and it's strong because people like you want to make a difference. And because you want to make a difference, I think that we are going to see improvements. I'm teaching students who are asking me questions just like you're asking me, and I hear them paying attention. I really think that the future of regenerative farming is a future that we can anticipate becoming better and better, because more and more of our people really care about their children. Not just how am I going to get along, but it's how are my children, my grandchildren getting along. And because of you folks, you are touching the future in a very special way by communicating the benefits of regenerative agriculture. By the way, one of our students won our regional soil judging contest earlier this month. I'm so proud of her. It's called Silt Loam. The textural class.
Silt? S-I-L-T?
Silt. Silt. There are three: sand, silt, and clay. And we can tell a lot about the available water holding capacity and the portion of the total soil water that's available to the crops in the hidden half, the root system, if we know what the textural class is. And there's some clay in this. What I'm feeling also is organic matter.
Humic as in humus?
Yeah. I'm very impressed with the soil. I am very impressed with what I'm feeling.
Nice.
I can tell a lot more by feel than by. This is very impressive. Variables like this is what we're looking for.
Well, save that, Bob.
Okay.
Save that for when the other Bob has his camera going.
There's something I want to say about.
But really, save it, because if you say it now, it won't sound the same the second time you say it.
Okay.
So
I agree.
I love the sun. I love the shade. I love the sun and the shade. Action.
Broad Fork and the Tilter.
Well,
yeah, and I don't think you have to do as big an area.
No.
Let's go to the other one then. I don't know.
Yeah, I think you've got plenty.
I got you.
Each one's going to get pretty
I'll go. Not quite that low.
Okay.
Do collapse the lower legs, and then I'll do the upper legs.
Okay.
Thank you. That one on there is still. Here we go. Quiet on the set. Action. Say that on PBS?
Yeah, make sure
You want
say
me
we are.
there, coming this way,
It's up to you.
or
Sounds good.
other way? I can see my back. I'd be going this way.
Justify anything. Action. Stop. Equipment's falling apart, Jim. What should I do?
I don't know. Duct tape.
Duct tape, yeah, I got that. I got duct tape. If you would, put it here with the last thing you did and then go to that area you were just at.
Okay.
Ready, action.
Okay.
You're good.
Is that going to be enough to shoot with the tiller?
Yeah. I think
Okay.
it should be.
Tiller's
How
next.
fast does it take you to go from one end to the other?
A few seconds.
Action. Cut. You trying to do action. You got it. Hang on. Did I say action yet?
He said that, but not Bob.
Guys are killing me. Action.
Okay.
Oh, here's an earthworm. Oh my.
Let's do it again.
Yeah. So hey, Bob.
Good. Cut.
Okay, we weren't looking because we thought.
All right.
We'll find it again. That's all.
Yeah.
Can I talk to you?
Yeah.
I just cannot tell you.
Don't move your hand around, please.
I can't tell you how wonderful it is to see earthworms in your soil and to feel your soil and to realize how good the balance of macro and micro, large and small pores is. This allows oxygen to move into the soil to provide aerobic respiration for the roots so that the roots can be healthy, and also oxygen for the earthworms. These earthworms are very important. The more earthworm castings, and this is what goes through the earthworm and is deposited by the earthworm in the soil, the more earthworm castings we see in the soil, we know that means there are more earthworms in the soil. And I just found earthworms in this is the second one I found. And when I see these earthworms, this tells me that you're doing a lot right. And the only reason this soil is as healthy as it is because you started emphasizing regenerative soil management and crop production from day one. This is evidence.
Rolls were close up. Told it right there. Do that again. Okay. So you see where your hands are? Don't go lower than that. You can do whatever you want. You can go higher or whatever, but no, you don't have to do that. You can be comfortable. Be comfortable. Here we go. Camera rolls.
Speed.
Action.
Jim, I cannot tell you how wonderful it is to feel your soil and know by feel as well as sight that the effort that you have made to become regenerative is paying dividends forever. Your percent organic matter is increasing.
Let's start again.
You see the gun?
Action.
Jim, there are no words to describe how wonderful it is to feel your soil. What I'm feeling is the product of a strong effort to become as regenerative as you can, and you have succeeded in becoming regenerative. The percent organic matter is increasing in your soil. It's very hard to achieve that. And what I'm feeling, Jim, is a good balance of large and small pore spaces, which means that oxygen can get into the soil, and also carbon dioxide, the product of aerobic respiration, can come out of the soil, and that preserves the soil pH and at a good level. And it's just a wonderful feeling to know that you have succeeded in being so regenerative, and you're going to keep going, I know, aren't you, in the same direction, because you want to.
Yeah, it's getting better every year.
And there's a reason for that. It's because you care about your soil, and you care about your soil because you know that the hidden half, the root system of the crop, is as important as the part of the crop that we can see. They walk the journey together, just as you and your wonderful neighbors are, who are benefiting in such wonderful ways from your strong effort to become regenerative. So we're so proud of you.
That's great. Thank
See, if we walk a couple hundred feet, I have another field, small field, that I just started working, and it's hard clay. And that's what this used to be.
Mainly pasture and forage crops.
Okay.
Not row crops, pasture and forage crops. I'm very impressed with what you've got here. I want to come back sometime when I have more time.
Sure.
I'd like to wander around with you sometime. If
Yeah,
you don't
sure,
mind.
anytime.
You've given me your contact information.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it.
This is, I don't know if you have a shot of the silage tarps too, but this is a silage tarp in action. So and actually I can show you tougher soil.
So
much
this
more
has never
clay.
been tilled or planted
What
by
we
you?
did was we made about 80 mounds. I think this is
80 mounds of what? Of this soil or compost?
We added compost, a little manure, because we didn't think we could get this whole thing really working right away, so we just went with mounds, and we did winter squash here. But it's much more clay-like.
But is that
clumps.
originally?
This is what I was originally working with over there, yeah.
So this was not as good originally as the other side?
This is very similar to what I had
what
originally.
you had. So
It's kind of clay-like.
it's like going back 20, 25 years then over there.
I've been working that 12 years.
12 years.
But when I started there, it was like this.
Wow.
And we brought in big tillers to make the mounds, but it's been every year adding a little more compost and manure that makes it fluffier.
Is that Kyle, do you think you can capture that?
So,
I'm filming it.
While he's doing that, could you give me your email address, please?
yeah, S like Sam, Jim, SANDER.
SJIM SANDER.
Right,
SJIM SANDER.
right, at AOL.com. And then we, put this over just to kill these weeds, and then we'll put it over there. But yeah, you can see it's a lot different soil what we were working with. This was hard just to make these mounds.
Yeah, I can see that.
And we spaced them, I don't know, 3 or 4 feet apart. We made some rows. But this is what I started with. I couldn't start with that. You got to have fine beds that you've worked for a couple of years at least.
How long has this tarp been on this?
A couple of months. This will, on most of them, we'll put it on the cover crop for about a month, and then move it to the next section.
So you're keeping this on for how long?
Probably leave it on for another month or so, and then we'll just move it over there, and then we'll probably try to rework these mounds again. So, but that's, that's kind of.
I think you're going about this in exactly the right way.
Yeah.
You're going about this the right way. Do you have a fire ant problem?
Yeah, that just started a few years ago.
We have that problem at our research station too. Seriously, we know it's a problem.
Can you see the fire ants right now?
No,
you
I
saw
didn't.
that there?
Usually you'll see something like that.
Yeah.
And right after it rains, we get a big mound, a foot high, huge. They're very productive. I noticed them a few years ago.
The winters have been too mild. Even as far north as Maine, it's too mild.
I'm going to excuse myself.
Oh,
I've got.
yeah, we can all head back.
No, you don't need to move. I've got an advising appointment in 2 weeks. Very.
You always got to be ready for the deer.
Yeah.
And if this was 6 feet high, they'd probably be in here.
So you didn't clear this of trees, did you? Or was it already
This
cleared?
was kind of clear. We were mowing this for years. Like you can see down there and here. It would just look like this. And this is what I started the other field with. It looked like this.
Wow. That's pretty impressive.
Okay.
Thank you.
Very interesting.
Yeah, I can show you guys how. Those ones, those make any sense, but those don't go.
These don't?
No, they'll just go.
Days
And then it, yeah, well, of course
and
it's
then it
today.
comes back and forth and
That's funny. What you're doing is perfect for me.
Oh.
somebody.
I want to see if that worked.
It's a good part of the process. Well, these rock bags are really cool because there's tons of rocks and we put them in a rock bag and that holds down our tarp here. But this is looking pretty good. I'm pretty happy with this. I think it's been down about a month.
Not
Is that
quite.
a month? Less than a month?
Maybe like 2 or 3 weeks.
2 or 3 weeks? And that's looking pretty good. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Yeah, this is going to be good. Most of this is pretty dead. I think it cooked it pretty good. Okay. But no, I like this. This feels good. Weeds are a big issue, and this is really helpful because we just move this around wherever we need it. About a month in the sun, and then you're good to go.
Wow.
So from here, we'll rake it out, and I'll broad fork some, but we don't really need to.
Yeah.
And then we'll just fill it up and throw some amendments in.
And so it's black on top for...
Yeah, black
You
on
want
top.
more heat?
Retain that heat. Okay. Yeah, we take these drip tapes up.
So what do you...
Put it in the walkway.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll just put this in the walkway.
And you reuse it?
Oh yeah, yeah.
sometimes the cheaper stuff you replace every year, but we use stuff that probably lasts 2 or 3 years. So. I'm gonna get a rake, Abby, and can rake this out, and then we can start getting it ready. Yeah, I have one I can open today. Unless we can use the long
So it's totally battery powered. It's a
do you want to get Abby? Brooks usually, or there's a guy right at Calvander. Brooks or we did a piece on Brooks, actually.
Really?
Class.
Oh, wow.
It was good. They're down in Chatham County.
Yeah.
They're big.
Okay.
They actually wrote me a long email after that. And they said, I don't know what the show's called now, but it's called Environmental Heroes.
It's called Science now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
But
yeah. What's on TV? Okay. It used to be called Environmental Heroes.
Yeah.
And after we did the piece, they wrote us a long letter and said, we liked it so much, we feel like if you're going to call us environmental heroes, we'd have to up our game.
Okay.
And comes it better to sustainable better or better practices?
Everything. Like, practices are probably the same, but I think getting stuff out to clients, dealing with clients.
To get all of this dried out weeds out.
Abby generally works 20, right, Abby?
Yes.
So you're
She's kind of locked in there.
Yep.
I'm probably 20 to 25.
Okay.
A rough figure, a minute for me, 25 for volunteers.
Okay.
But I don't think I ever work more than 4 hours, maybe 5 hours once in a while. So we try to keep it, well, in the summer we try to keep it to a 4-hour block.
Mm-hmm.
Just because after 12 you're kind of, you had it. I do some at night, have people come out like 6 to 8.
Mm-hmm.
So, but now that the weather's breaking, we could work anytime.
You can do it during the
it's
day.
easier.
Yeah.
And then these weeds will either go down to our asparagus patch or over in the compost bin.
And the asparagus patches.
Right over there, last row down there on the left. Yeah, there's a couple of good articles that were written about the Hillsborough.
not too big that's being worked like this. But that could be one of the best sites because it's so public. The public isn't going to wander out here and see them, but thousands of people will see that one.
Yeah.
So that's why we have a lot of hope for that one. That it's going to get a lot of exposure
Yeah.
to the public,
Maybe others.
volunteers, other people. 4 or 5 minutes from the table that's open, and she could be the next cancer. And she could run it. She would know everything.
Cool. All right.
Okay.
So
Why don't I do a little broad forking?
let's do it.
And then some, do some broad forking, and we can add some amendments and compost and till it in there. You just break it up.
Broad forking.
Yeah, you just want to break up the clumps. You don't want to turn the soil over.
Up, yeah.
But you can see the way this goes in so easily. This bed, this is how it should be. Some of my beds are harder.
Why? Why are they harder?
I don't know. It might just be the way the soil is, or what we've used it for. But we pretty much do the same. Clumpy. It's not going to be hard to till this.
Yeah. And so the kind of soil, and this is a bit of a redundant question, the kind of soil you're looking for best when broad forking, that will broad fork most efficiently is like, what would you call that?
Well, it's a good mix. It's kind of loamy. It's had a lot of cover crops. It's had a lot of compost. It's not too sandy. It's not too clayey. Like right where your feet are, you can see that like red. A lot of this was that way originally, and this is the result of about 12 years of working it. But when this thing goes down that easy, that's a good sign for the plants. You're going to get a lot of good root growth there. But this is the result of compost, cover crops, minor amount of tilling, broad forking once, maybe twice a year. But yeah, this is so easy now. We don't really have to do it.
How many times do you think this specific plot has been broad forked since you started?
Well, I've been doing this about 5 years. 5 to 10 times. So from here on, it gets worked.
Okay.
Great. Okay. Want a compost spreading shot or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Kyle. So you guys will compost both plots?
Yeah, we'll throw some compost down.
Where do you get that? Just another.
Oh boy, do you know the store in Pittsburgh? The farm and country store?
Yeah.
Old-timey farmy store.
That could be cool.
That's, they're really nice. And they've helped me a lot. But if you needed a shot, a couple shots of that, that would be
Yeah.
And
So those are some weeds that stuck around eating the tarp.
yeah, they were down here at the end.
Where's this ant that we were talking about? Is that over?
I think it was right here. I think they've already dispersed.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, oh, there was some here. Here it is. You see they grind it up into fine soil there.
Do you like, are ants a good sign?
Well, not fire ants.
Yeah.
Fire ants appeared because we got warmer weather in the winter.
Okay.
So I think they come up from Florida in the ornamental plants. Now they're warmed up to survive. And they've become a give you a whole shot, and then we'll put the drip tapes back.
Okay.
So
Yep.
that'll give you a
That'd be
whole
great.
sequence. Okay.
Hey Kyle, blood pressure shot.
So the average is about 1 cup, which is about 1 pound, will pull 10 feet of bed. So that will be about maybe 3 or 4 cups of the blood meal. Just go down.
Well, the composition, soil composition is mostly through the through the compost. This is a quick shot because they're only going to be in about 6 weeks. So some of our, we'll ask them. It's okay.
And we can
Oh. Yeah, maybe, let's see, you have Abby putting in the amendments. Maybe what we could do is have you work with those guys for a while, and we'll finish this up, clean it up, and then you can
I think the
get
last
it tilling, and then you can show the finished product. It might take us like another 20 minutes. But if you want to get them working, does that make sense?
Oh yeah, no, we'll totally. And then I think we'll want, the planting. Is that what they're gonna do?
Yeah.
Okay, and then after that, I think,
Hey. Hi. How are you? Good. How's it going? Good. Hey, Quinn. Hey. Elizabeth.
Okay. But we have some big seedlings that we thought you guys could plant.
Yeah. Okay.
And they'll probably get you bringing the seedlings down and planting them.
Okay. Great.
Four
Yep,
beds on
okay.
the left side
Yep,
there,
all
yeah.
right.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay. Late October.
Okay. All one
Okay. Maybe if you guys want to take one down each there, and I'll get you started down there. And these are big, leafy guys. And I think you're probably going to want something like this, right? And I'll give you a couple
cool and cloudy. Probably get rain this afternoon. So let's see. I think we're going to do the very last row. It should be dripping. And then yeah, so pretty much the same thing, 2 or 3 inches to the side.
Okay, okay.
And the drip should be pretty obvious.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got 2 in the each tray. We got 2 each. Or 4. Each mini tray. Sweet. Any tips for getting that out? You don't have to grease all the way through.
You can sort of squeeze at the bottom, I think.
Yeah, that's kind
Okay. Okay, are you okay, Kyle?
I'm all good.
Okay.
I'm getting a ton of great stuff.
I'm going to bring more down, and then we're going to keep working those beds, and we'll let you know when we're ready for a final over there.
Perfect. Just getting a little bit of everything.
Okay, they don't look too dry, are they?
No,
Just
not at all.
kind of somewhat moist?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's cool. Right. Are those...
I got Ty a drone for Christmas, I think.
Oh.
Or his birthday. I don't know. They're close together. Maybe someday I can convince him to let me bring it out here.
Yeah, I grabbed some. I'm in the genetics and molecular biology track.
We work in the same lab.
Oh, fun. Which lab?
Mine is probably
Okay.
This should be it.
Okay. On the
Let's see, are we ready to do the...
Okay. I think that's a pretty good sequence. And let's see, what else? The best shots you'll get of peppers and cherry tomatoes would probably be today. They are still going strong in the hoop house. And then
tomatoes, flowers are good. Any cherry tomatoes, peppers are good. Lettuce will be better later on. Same with kale and chard. The cooling and packing would probably be better later, like when we're actually doing something.
$1,000 of crop a year. Like that could be cool. So like a portrait of the pepper, and then get the portrait of the chard, and go through and get like each of those. It might not work, but it might be nice to have in case we decide. Up to you. But I thought of that earlier. I was like, oh, that could be sick. What?
It's not focusing. Come on, focus. Get the pepper. Get the damn pepper down there. There we go. No.
Maybe get the one up here. It might focus better on the white.
I've gotten those. I want to try and get like something like in there. Do I need this upright? Yeah, I kind of do, unfortunately.
What else do you need here?
We're gonna get the final shot of the lettuce being finished.
Okay.
Here, I think we're kind of done. This was mostly for the low-till stuff, right? And then the tarp, which we wanted.
Right, we got the tarp, we got the bed prep.
Yep. How do they taste?
Great.
Yeah?
Thank you.
Yeah, get the most orange ones.
Yeah, they're still pretty
They're
sweet.
still pretty good. They're,
There's another
Oh my
one.
god.
Hokkaido.
Are they
That's
good?
delicious.
Yeah, they're like the best you've ever had.
I feel like I'm in my garden at home again. Oh my god.
Yeah, and this is probably 80-90% as tasty as like July and August. You know, they're better then. Well,
They're delicious.
yeah, they're on the decline, but they're still pretty good.
It's like by comparison.
Try one. They're good too, but nobody is as sweet as these guys.
I'd be good with some mozzarella and some basil.
Let's see here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a whole different thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not
a whole different
sweet.
flavor palette.
I'll meet you guys down there. I'm gonna check up on that.
Attempted to use it this morning. I left my phone downstairs last night. I got on phone, and then A, woke up with the alarm clock. So
Yeah, some.
B, failed to unset the alarm on my phone. Well, I didn't still end up on the phone. I did, but I had to go downstairs and turn it off. But then when I woke up, I was like, wanted to make sure this alarm was working and realized that I hadn't flipped the switch to be back on. So the alarm wasn't going to go off. So I flipped that on, went downstairs, turned off my vibrating phone, and then the alarm upstairs went off. Wow. And so I spent a little bit of this morning wandering back and forth across my house.
Kids maybe.
Hey, buddy. What is this? Growing on the...
Oh, passion fruit.
What?
Yes? I believe that's a passion
You're
fruit.
growing passion fruit?
Oh, they come up all over the place. Yeah, that's a passion fruit. They pop up all over the place out here. This could probably come out. It's coming up from here.
Well, if it was really bad weather, we can pick any home. So, if you want to get the rest of them in my bag.
Yeah, that seems doable. Did you?
We have a structure that we put the market. I know. Fine with it goes like this.
Yeah, and I feel all the designs are kind of working together for the rest of this anyway, so that's the only thing.
Is Abby in view? Can you see her? Try scooching it a little bit more and moving it up so you can get the tops of trees in frame and her in frame. To do that,
There was
that could be cool.
no question. I was leaving in July 2019. He was going to move back to Europe at some point, and that was like a really accepted fact. But yeah, but yeah, I don't know. I have had people.
So this helps get all the weeds out of the bed. Ideally when they're starting to pop up, but help the lettuces out by
getting his dog, so he's gonna go meet us over there in the greenhouse so we can do a still.
That's Rio. This is Maple. Maple syrup. But a lot of people had to give them up because these dogs just love to run. And they had like apartments, and it just wasn't working. Whew, boy, that's some fur coming off of there. Okay, Mapes, let's go in. There you go, buddy. Hey, stop.
Oh, that's a headbutt. It's a headbutt. Hi. Oh, come on.
Hey, knock it off. Yeah, what are you doing? No, just, you got me all tangled up here.
Hey, girl.
Okay, there you go.
Does she have a tumor in her?
No, it's a cyst.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she has a couple of them. They're pretty harmless, but they don't look good. Hey, Maple, you're grabbing a pet too. There's pets for everybody, see?
That's for everyone.
You work it out. A little patience. A little patience.
You got energy and you got nope. Hey, girl. Oh, what's up? What is up? All right.
I can see you're a dog lover.
Oh, big time. We just puppy sat over the weekend. We can't keep. It's
Yeah.
we think we're not sure though. He found her on the side of the road. The guy who adopted her, and she was just so good for a puppy. And you know, puppies can be just.
Yeah.
Want me to go?
I was trying to get him at the door, and that's why I did that.
Oh, we can't let her in. Yeah, they. Yeah. Yeah, this will probably have a lot of lettuce when we come back.
So all this will be in here?
Yeah, we have one row with. Not just crumbling on. Well, it's always sealed. They recommend maybe when you change the top every 7 or 8 years, you leave it off for the winter, and then the rain will come in and soak the soil and remove the salt You have some benefits, but you have some drawback which you never get. So you always use it.
So how do you offset that negative
Well, what I'm gonna probably do is collect the rainwater and use the rainwater instead of well water. Yeah. And then we'll be fine. Oh yeah. Oh, we've cleaned something with the rainbows. Growing quite nicely. We do have a problem. There are some critters who turn under and come out with holes on the bottom, but they must have covered 3 or 4 feet, maybe even 7 or 8 feet. Come across and down and get in. We'll be back to you shortly. I'm coming right back for you, don't worry. Maple, you're good. You're good to go.
figs are my favorite food.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
It is for you.
Well, my employer at Fireside,
Yeah.
Walt Heisenberg,
Yeah?
he knows quite a bit about soil science.
Could I, if I sent you an email today, do you think you could get up with him and see if he'd be interested?
I can ask him.
That'd be great. Thank you. You got a leak in your drip over here.
Yeah, I saw that.
Oh yeah, we get little ones. They're okay. There you go. That's Jim Sanders.
So you, you're like an interview with him?
Lighter than usual, so.
You take 3?
Yeah. Is that it?
Yes, it is.
Easy. It was funny when we were taking out the boxes. They were, last week we did the peppers, and they're so heavy. Relatively heavy.
Yeah.
And these were like, woo, like air.
Yeah, there's not much to them. 10 heads of lettuce.
Yeah. pickleball
Oh, pickleball.
yesterday, and I stretched, tried to do something I probably can't do.
Yeah.
And the unfortunate thing is, so I tore my left muscle and spent however many months. And now this time I did the other one.
Oh.
So,
Is that just have to rest it?
yeah, hopefully it's just, I had to do for the left one.
It easy, that's why I got this thing on.
Yep, I gotcha. All right, well, I'll touch base with you about next week to see.
Yeah,
We gotta
see what happens.
see what's going on. All right.
Okay, thanks again.
Yep, see you later.
I don't know if you
Run it up and just out the top of your shirt. Then I'll clip it to your sweater. Then if you decide to take your sweater off.
Yeah.
You could hold this. I'll take this. And then I'm just gonna put this onto your foot. When we're done,
Okay.
Audio real quick.
You can just stop taking probably.
All right, Mr. Eric.
Because they'll
Yeah.
catch up.
Yeah, these are huge, yeah.
These will feed a family of 10.
We're going to do Hollywood. I'm going to say action. And then you do
Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
Is that where you're going to be?
We're going to be working our way down.
Okay, that's good. Well, start.
Probably just stay here for a while and then
That'd be good.
do the same thing
Let me know
on
where
a
you're
red
going to
one.
be. Is that right there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The camera's going wonky on here. Hang on a second. Colin, we'd have to shoot wide.
Some of these are 2 and 3 together too.
Yeah. Like, I'll leave this one. That's something like
Yeah, yeah. Got some romaine in here too. Yeah. Okay.
some of these small guys here. Okay. Just barely going to fit in the bags here.
Well, that would be great. We can do that. Be helpful, yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Give me a second. Change the camera. That's amazing.
Not a flat, this is on the other road.
Yep, this is in Zebra Road, so
It was focused.
so I think
Action.
Want to get a shot?
Let's
Here. Here you're looking. And then every time you roll.
I'm rolling, so whenever you wanna do your thing.
Okay.
Am I okay right here?
Okay, I think we're good now. I'll need to get a tail flap. As we did at the beginning. First thing.
I'm just gonna make it in the bag.
Just barely.
Yeah. Look at this one.
Gosh.
Jeez, man. Nice one.
If we had waited a week, that would have been
This
too
might
big.
be too much. Yeah, this could be, I think we probably got these just at the right time. I'll get rid of a lot more tomorrow.
rolling.
And it's speeding. And Jim, could you clap in front of your face really quick? Perfect.
I think the blood meal helped us. Don't you think the short term?
Oh, for sure. Definitely.
Yeah,
these are really a good size. I think the blood meal short-term nitrogen was
Here's a finished
got 12 there, okay.
box.
Mine's almost done. Okay, ready for the cooler?
Let's see where I can move. Thinking I might have to have you grab one out and
Okay.
put it in just because I feel like
Yeah.
that angle kind of cut off with the fan and everything.
Yeah, let me know when you're ready.
All right.
I'll take it out and put it back in.
All right. Let's do that right now,
Wanna
real
do it
quick,
now?
if that's
Okay.
fine with you.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. I'll just keep it going.
Okay. Ready?
We'll just get you to snap again, or clap.
Oh.
Just another quick clap, and
Perfect.
good to go.
Nice to meet you.
Good to meet you
You
too.
too. I'll see you tomorrow.
Lovely.
I don't think so.
No.
You have an apple in your hand. People that we know. Eric Bodie and Kyle Graves. You're supposed to laugh too. Like,
And then we're all saying,
like over the top laughing.
But that wouldn't be what we would actually be doing.
Actually, we would be laughing. Huh? We'd be walking dogs.
All right, you two are good to walk.
So we're walking in here. Very sweet. Oh yeah. A bunch right there.
Probably in her late 30s.
Precious. Action. Hey, Rio, what you doing there?
Hey, Jim, go to your left as far as you can go. You would stand there, please. Okay, focus. 1 second. You're the worst part of the day, it looks like. And action.
Yeah, if you gotta move anything, you can just shift it over there.
Okay.
This is where you live, we're not.
And the soil report looks pretty good, but we do need a few amendments. And I want to get your opinion on it and see if I can pick them up later today. Jim Sander, Wildflower Lane. Thanks.
Okay, just pretend you're dialing on your phone, hold it back up, a little bit higher. Perfect.
12. Table is making up their boxes and bags from like 9 to 12.
Yeah.
They have like 300. Pale green, the light green list. It's probably a Simpson.
Simpson, and then there's one that's a little more frilly.
Oh, the frillier one is the Simpson. The more substantial one
Yeah.
with big leaves. That's a
Good to go. Action.
Okay, guys, come on. You guys ready for this? You ready? We're gonna do this? Maple, how about you? You ready to go? Okay. We are going outside. Okay, Leo. You're gonna lead the charge, huh? Okay. Take it slow. Look. Get you on time here, buddy. Okay, you ready? Let's do it.
Stay right there. Back up if you would, please, Jim. Just kind of, call cheating. Don't just do like you're doing. Stay there a while, then get up and walk past me. Yes, please. And take off. You got to the ants.
Oh boy. Yeah, you better check your legs. If you feel them.
But you can have Jim pointing to it if you want.
Action.
And then Jim, can you banner heads the lettuce?
Okay.
Okay, say when.
Action.
This has all
We're waiting for pickup.
And then that's followed by the kombucha that she made, and she's growing the kombucha at the plant, which is interesting. I've never
Kombucha.
seen
We had some kombucha.
It is, but I read a story about curcumin supplements, and like 75% of them don't have any curcumin, and 90% of them have contaminants. And the article ended by, if you really want curcumin, you've got to get the actual root and grind it yourself. And that is the pure curcumin.
And that's what she's doing.
That's what she does, yeah.
Oh.
With all of her herbs. I mean, it would be really interesting.
A little more.
You're gone.
Yeah, that's good. How's it going?
Okay.
Good.
How are those kales doing? Did they still see
Oh
anything?
yeah, we
Put 'em in the-
realized somebody was getting in there eating stuff, so we put the screening around the whole hoop house.
Oh.
And then we planted the kale. So they should come up.
Huh?
Yeah, they're looking good.
Good. So when will you know if they've made it? Because I planted about 10 at my place.
Yeah. Oh, a couple of weeks we'll know. They should be. Here's a receipt for you. Give that to Kate. Okay. Oh, we have our second person coming too. Okay, I'll start loading you up here.
Okay. Should I? Hi there. Okay, we might give you 12 or 13 if we can. Okay. Got some nice boxes going here.
Yeah.
Put these on top, maybe. That would be pretty good. Yeah, they sure are. Yeah. Do you have a couple of closed boxes now?
They're all closed. Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe just if you take 2 more, I think we're good. Okay.
I think that's gonna close. Oh, it is. All right.
Let's see, we might get you to take 1 more. Let me see how she's doing.
You want me to put 2 more in here or no?
Okay. Yeah, maybe that one in the back.
These 2.
Yeah, are they gonna close okay, or?
Want me to keep loading her?
No, we're good. I think
Oh,
we're,
okay.
yeah, see if that,
What I got, 16? No,
yeah, I
no.
don't know if that's gonna close. We have more.
No, it actually is. I didn't think it was gonna close either. Whoop, maybe I was right.
Make it?
And you're just simply just
close it.
Yep.
Okay. On any cue or just do it? Okay. I was just wondering if you wanted me to get over there where it says table. Okay.
No worries.
And they often will come out to help, but
It's on full. Because I don't want to burn batteries quick.
And so you got him taking it out of his car too. You were up there.
Yeah, I got like 4 boxes coming out. Got to sign the table up there. I'm gonna check that.
Oh yeah, do that one.
You got any more? Do you have any more in your car?
there's 4 more. And
4 more? Okay.
If you get 2, I'll get the last 2 if you wanted to do something with the last 2.
Okay.
Yeah, do your thing.
So, is miscellaneous down here?
Yeah, right on the border of those I don't know if you know where the Chapel Hill Zen Center is. Yeah, so
It's too difficult with all the color. I'll just do.
it's not right at that center. Again, it's just
Go for it.
I know, we need to move it. You can keep.
Take three? Or was it a good
Well,
busy shot?
Go for it. Go for it.
There's is like to say. One collard, one apple, one pepper, one tomato, and one lettuce, or bundle of lettuce. So, as you guys know, you guys are veterans here. You can pick your station, and we're gonna get started very shortly. Thank you.
Jeffrey, you're good to go whenever. You're good whenever.
Okay, here we go.
Alright, so there we go. We're ready to start.
Okay, all right, Ned's ready to go, we're ready.
Yeah, let's combine them. I'll put them down there and then do my new wrapping. Thank you. All right.
We could do 2 peppers.
Huge peppers. You're good. You're well. You're well.
Because it was just 3, right?
Yeah, it was just 3.
Oh, no. I'll put it right here. Yeah, there you go. We got a copy Guess we need. We'll make you in.
Special we have in blue with it? Yep. 20. 20. Yep.
So the online process. So, I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, yeah. Well, everything in the blue is cool, but
Peppers.
They're gonna want you to be the.
Oh yeah.
Look at this little caterpillar. Spiky one.
What do you think that is, Rob?
I don't trust these caterpillars.
I don't know, it's a spiky one.
What happened to that swallowtail?
Oh,
I put it down in the packer. Caterpillar tea.
Have you brewed kombucha before?
Jesse kind of has.
I have. Sometimes you drink it and it's like, I don't know about this.
He did some sort of experimental fermentation in our apartment in Raleigh. And was it?
Yeah,
It was
made
like pineapple.
to peach it.
Yeah.
And it blew up in the fridge.
Yeah.
And it was like
I know,
spreading
we
in the whole room, and it instantly was like someone did pepper spray.
Yeah.
It was horrible.
Okay. Stand right on the antler, please, actually. So we're gonna get. This is kind of cool when you look down. Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
You be my right, please.
He was talking about putting the harrow on there, but he can just use that.
Yeah.
Just use
Yeah,
the
you look it up.
attachment.
I'm going to have her on my left.
Yeah.
And I'll be on left. And if you could, we'd like to torture you. You know we do. Because we like you. Right? What? I think so. So, Emmy? There's a shot, yeah. Shot. And I'm going to stay on that. He'll get through with it. Then if he does whatever he does, we'll shoot close. He does. Are you going to pick any? I'm asking.
I can.
Nah. I mean, you got to do it again, so that's why I'm asking.
Yeah.
If you just want to touch him, then I will do a close up.
Yeah, Kyle, can you get a
Speedy?
See shadow because of the. Yeah.
Alright, I'll stay out.
Okay, thanks. Anytime, Amy.
Okay, so, briefly, would you tell us what you have here and give us the difference between what's about ready to pick and what's not ready to pick?
Okay, so these are thornless blackberries. So you can see they don't have any thorns on the stem. These, of course, are ripe blackberries right there. They're a little overripe, so they're probably going to get eaten by the birds because we missed those, but that's fine. And then these down here are the green berries, which is what they look like when they first come out. Then they turn red, and when they ripen, they turn black. You can see they're rather large, which is nice. And in the summertime, they're very sweet. This time of year, they tend to be a little less sweet, but they're still pretty good.
Okay. Lucy.
Lefty Lucy. Fast.
Me and 15 grand followers. I'm not worth 2 cents.
Oh.
No, I don't have work.
Can we move that one string right out here, please?
If Lindsay's okay holding up.
Yeah, we'll have somebody else do that.
We're good. Yeah, you guys are good.
Okay. It was so nice to meet y'all.
Will be ready for harvest in another week. And behind me here is spinach. So we plant these crops in the high tunnel to help extend the season. So we can start earlier in the spring and we can go later into the winter. And some of these crops will go no problem through the winter.
And then the first crops you planted this year, and if any of these are planted.
Okay. So the first crops we planted were actually cover crops. So cover crops are annuals that you put down to in the later part of the fall, and we'll continue to plant up through the winter. So we'll grow stuff in the high tunnel all winter long.
Thanks, Walsh. That was good. Thank you. Your trailer's ready. We removed all the brown M&Ms.
Oh, really?
Your trailer, yeah. I'm telling you.
This is yours. Barefoot farmers.
That's great.
But when he runs, we're making him.
Yeah.
These sharp blades, they can
Making it.
take those out.
Yep. Heck yeah. We like loud, and we want loud.